please start your presentation.
Thank you very much. Yes, today I will be speaking about alternative approach to Bitcoin. And I want to ask you, what do you think, why Bitcoin needs alternative? It was a huge discussion yesterday, but still I want to know who thinks what. Any opinions?
It was always
Opinions are always needed? Or not opinions, alternatives are always needed? You can.
I almost always have an opinion.
Okay.
Viewing cryptocurrencies as an ecosystem, you want to have diversity to adapt to changing situations, to keep life alive and not have a parent planet.
Any other?
Yeah, I think we did transactions.
Transaction speed.
Speed. Okay.
Well, with that, of course, goes controlling microtransactions.
Right. Fees? I would say that...
serious security issues, pending serious security. Bitcoin, as explained yesterday, and I think it's summarized
Okay.
why we need something different. Better.
Do you think that Bitcoin was designed to use existing financial systems? No. That's probably the correct answer, because Bitcoin was an attempt to create alternative reality for existing financial system and to become a haven for black money, sometimes for money that are outside existing financial world for any kind of activities that are not connected to. Yeah, and Bitcoin was also an attempt to create alternative financial institutions that are not under control of corrupted governments. He succeeded, I would say, in this role. Perfectly succeed. We have some alternatives, better speed, better anonymity, whatever, but they still mostly are clones of Bitcoin, and they inherit this feature not to be the solution, not to be even close to the solution for existing financial systems. Why I'm talking about this? Let me say a few words about myself. I'm 8 years in information technology field. I was developer, project general manager. I've got a PhD in information security in Ukraine. I'm originally from Ukraine and I'm technically still living there, but not this year, due to obvious reasons. And I work right now as a cryptographer at Stellar. I do various activities. I develop protocols, involved in the different security issues, in the selection of algorithms. Also, I do research about every approach on the market regarding new coins. So I've read maybe 50 years about different coins and comparing this, etc. And right now I'm deeply involved in educating people about currencies in general. So I'm traveling around the world and do presentations to startups, incubators, and whatever to promote Bitcoin and the whole cryptocurrency world to them. But I don't think that Bitcoin was a perfect solution, and if to see it closely, you can find some. So the first one, probably the biggest, this country is Ethiopia, and around 100 million live there. And the consumption of energy of the whole Ethiopia is equal to the consumption of all miners, all Bitcoin miners, which is around $500,000 per year, per day. $500,000 per day are spent just for mining. And you also need to spend money for equipment and etc., etc. That's the biggest issue with Bitcoin. The second one, I would say that, as we discussed yesterday, Bitcoin nowadays is not like it was initially designed to be. It was supposed to be fully decentralized solution. But if you look, for example, to the mining pool distribution, then two of them, and sometimes only one pool, controls more than 51%. So technically, pools can create 51% attack. I can admit that it's not too easy to perform that, because miners who participate in these pools, they're still looking what pools are doing, and as soon as if some pool creates some kind of attack, they can just leave this pool and never join it again. But still, yeah, we have signs, clear signs of centralization, which originally should not be the case. And if you look to the distribution of wealth in Bitcoin economy, you will see that it's even worse in the real world. 40 people have 25% of all Bitcoins. And 1,000 people have half of all Bitcoins in existence. And yeah, richest become more rich and rich because they can afford miners, because miners are expensive, so they become richer and richer. And only on the open market, we see only 15–20% Bitcoins trading, and the rest is just lying somewhere. That was the reason, maybe you remember 1 month ago or 1.5, FBI announced the sale of 30,000 Bitcoins to the open market. It's around 0.1%, 1/1000th of all Bitcoins. But the price went down 10%. So it's a huge, like every sell has a huge impact to the price. Yeah, it's also because of adoption, but if really minority of people control a lot of Bitcoins, then we will have this afterwards. And the last thing, yeah, it's also connecting to security. But if you have a light wallet, then you have to trust your ISP provider. You could read about this on this link. Yeah, that's explained there. So in some cases, your ISP provider can fool you and you will not get your Bitcoins. So, as I said, there are a lot of other cryptocurrencies, like 600 different cryptocurrencies, but they are usually clones to Bitcoin. 95% are clones. There is another approach. So now I tell about Stellar. It's another approach. History of it is that the technology was created in 2011, 3 years ago, by Jed McCaleb, a very famous developer from cryptocurrency world. He initially created eDonkey torrent network 14 years ago. Then he created MTGOX, but 2 years before the crash. And he created Ripple. So technology now Stellar was developed as a part of open source project Ripple. But company Ripple itself was a for-profit company. And due to some issues, we will talk about them a bit later, he left the company, Ripple, and launched an alternate approach, which is technically the same. Technology, organization structure, and some other stuff is different. So he named it Stellar, and it was launched on July 31. It was launched on July 31. So the main difference of this approach, if you know about Ripple, you would understand everything, because technology is equal, almost 99%. Main difference from Bitcoin is that all coins exist in the beginning. There is no mining at all. The second one is that somebody has to process transactions. Like, there should be some miners, but they don't spend electricity, they still exist. And processing of transaction is based on a consensus algorithm. And consensus here is a voting procedure about which transactions should be included into the network or which are not. but without spending computational power. So it's just a decision of of a group of nodes that decide which to be included. These servers, like miners in Bitcoin, charge fees. So there is no fees technically in Stellar. No even 5 cents per transaction. And everybody who wants to become a processing node, like a miner in Bitcoin, has to provide a public information about himself. This is needed to protect the network from Sybil attack, from 51% attack. Because in Bitcoin, this protection is done with the help of mining. To gain 51%, you have to spend really a lot of money on. Here, you need to be a trusted to vote for transactions. And to become a trusted member, you need to first to provide information about yourself. So as a person or as an organization, university, whatever. And then you have to gain trust from other members. So for example, universities will technically like mine transactions because they trust each other. And if somebody out of these universities will try to push bad transactions, it will be directly known who. That's it. So it's very like simple voting mechanism. Also, Stellar is just a payment network. Like Bitcoin, you can as a peer-to-peer messaging or payment platform. Status as well, but on top of it, it has a trust level. So it's like two-level architecture. And trust level describes all the relationship between financial organizations that exist right now. So it describes in the protocol issuing of loans, fees for issuing loans, trading, trust organizations, everything. So you can think about it as a model for the whole financial world, but in one protocol. Currently, financial world uses different systems. One system to transact with a user, like internet banking protocols, another system to communicate between banks, another system to transact like credit card, Visa, whatever. But imagine that it could be one protocol, describes every transaction, every type of transaction, and works smoothly and with the principles of cryptocurrency. So it's all transparent, decentralized, free, and secure. That would be the perfect future. Unlike Bitcoin, Stellar currency, which plays a role. So in Bitcoin, currency is on the first row. Here, it's Stellar supply is infinite and grows 1% per year. I will describe why it's needed. And as soon as some company generates these pre-mined coins, you need to distribute them then somehow in a fair way. That was the issue with Ripple, because a commercial company, they sold and gave away around 20% of all coins to the general public, and 80% they hold themselves as a company or founder shares. That was a big issue for the community that thought that it's good to buy some written balance that somebody just generated. So it hasn't gained big adoption. So Stellar is an attempt to fix this trust issue to the whole company. So it's a non-profit, still open source, and 95% of all coins will be given away for free. Everybody is able, even right now, and will be able in the future, some coins for free. And 5% of Stellars will be sold on auctions due to during the life cycle to a non-profit organization. Initially, Stellar received 3 million loan Stripe, US-based payment startup, in exchange of 2% of coins. That's the main. Now we come to why it's needed. This picture represents a relationship between banks right now. So if, for example, we have two banks and we have customers of each of them. So if Alice wants to send money to Bob, then there is no movement of money. Bank just writes another owner of money that are inside the bank. So there is technically no move of money. It's just a balance. But if Alice wants to send money to Charlie, to another bank, then money should somehow be moved. And with existing system, it's a very complex task. Because you cannot move overseas the huge pile of cash or gold or whatever. It just, current money cannot be moved. So how it's solved? You move like this. So if Alice wants to send $1,000 Charlie, now, and payment is done, now bank number 1 will owe 1,000 to bank number B. But at the end of the day, somebody out of bank number 2 can send bank 1. And balances will again be cleared. So the whole system works on trust, on counterparty. To make this more smoothless, we need central bank. Because otherwise, customers of some bank can send millions, but real money not moving. So some bank will owe other bank like millions of dollars, and at the end of the day, it can disappear. So all banks are required to have a secure deposit and central bank that protects the trust between banks. So that's how Stellar is designed. Exactly modeling this relationship. It's a technology representation of a medieval hall remittance system. If you know about this, you will understand that it's just technical representation. As a protocol, it works like a bridge between existence and a cryptocurrency world. As I said, we have to. Bitcoin was an attempt to change existing situation from the bottom, to create something new which is really disruptive. Here, we apply concepts of cryptocurrency and technology to existing financial system. So we allow to create transparent, secure, fast, and free financial system with free and whatever. Yeah, as I said, it's based to trust to public institutions. Every processing node should be public, and technically banks. There could be technically banks in Stellar. They just will be normal banks that adopt the protocol, like they adopt SWIFT, and people can have a balances in these banks, and they should trust bank as they trust right now. But you can process any kind of currency in Stellar, so we can generate even your own currencies and transact with different currencies. Yes.
In Stellar, and then probably also are the transactions publicly visible?
Yeah.
Like in a blockchain?
Yes. Yes. So you can think about this as an existing transaction between banks, but they're public and protected by signatures, by cryptography. And for Stellar, it's just a protocol of accounting protocol of general purpose. You can transact with whatever you want. You can store their chair, numbers of chairs, amount of gold in some vault, amount of dollars, and then you have people who trust each other, who send some money balances to each other. The Stellar just helps to clear the balances. And it also works like a distributed exchange. The example is that, for example, I want to pay, I have a balance in dollars, and I want to pay to a merchant who accepts only euros. Usually you need to exchange it yourself. But this protocol allows you to send transactions as it is in dollars, and it will be automatically, in few seconds, exchanged to euros, and merchant will have money in euros. You don't need to touch this at all, and even if you're a bank. So we took the same principles like in Havala system or existing banking system. So if Alice has an account, some gateway here it's like a bank, and she wants to send money to Bob. No money is moved, just bank has changed the owner of money. That's it. Very simple. And between two entities, like bank and a lease, it could be a trust line. For example, I can hold a deposit in Bank of America, and I trust Bank of America to hold up to $10,000. So that's in my mind the amount of money that I believe will be safe in this particular bank. I would trust Bank of Cyprus for a much less amount of money. The empty box, for example, or whatever, I will trust for $10, not more. But in vice versa, the bank can trust me, so he can give me a loan, for example, up to some limit also. And it's mutual trust. I trust bank to this amount and bank to this amount. And this is technically represented inside the protocol. Each user can set up a trust to every other user and vice versa. It says, yeah, two-level architecture. This is user, and central points is the issuers of some other currencies. So if you send money in a native currency in stores, it will go directly, one by one, nobody is it. But if you want to send money in non-native currency like dollars, then you need to exchange it inside the system, and there should be like market makers to exchange this currency. So you touch other entities as well. How it's done? I suppose that you know how Bitcoin blockchain looks like. It's just a order of transactions. Here it's like extended blockchain. In store, not only transactions are stored in the blockchain, but there are also normal accounts. And accounts, technically, it's also a public key and a related information. So you can put there like public key, this number has balance in this currency like this, in this currency like this, and this like this. And also you can put there like a message key, public information, whatever. So it's just a piece of data, could be also anonymous, but it's directly stores data. Due to this architecture, you don't need to store all the blockchain. You can store only the latest, like in Bitcoin. And in the latest block, you will see all the accounts and their balances. To make trading between different currencies very easy, all offers to exchange currency is also transactions. So if you want to exchange dollars to euros, you just post a transaction. I want to exchange dollars to euros with maximum amounts like this, with exchange rate this. And this transaction is just goes to the block and everyone sees it and can take this offer. So it's distributed trading platform as well. And all the information about trust lines, as I said, this relationship between like a bank and a person, are represented, are stored in the current block in Bitcoin. Here it names it. And every change to the ledger should be caused by a transaction. So every action is a transaction, signed cryptographically. So everything is protected. I would say that we have to discuss consensus probably later, but it's just simple voting mechanisms, distributed voting mechanisms, where all votes are signed cryptographically, so everybody who voted like this. But the rules of consensus are very simple. So if, in case of miners take money for their job, and it's interesting that some blocks have 0 transactions in Bitcoin. To mine blocks, some miners do 0 block transactions. It's bad incentive. It's really slighter than mine a normal block with a transaction, but still. And in consensus algorithm, you don't mine for transactions you saw. you agree with other participants, transactions should be there. And you just transfer them between each participant, and then you collectively decide which should be there. So if some transaction is technically, it should be in the block. You cannot say, no, we don't put this transaction, because it, whatever, you put it there. And if somebody, some majority, haven't seen this transaction, maybe it was not propagated quite fast, it should be included into the next block. And if somebody plays not according to these two rules, so it rejects some valid transaction, but it has seen it, this node is considered to be malicious. An opinion, like a voting opinion of this node, that's it. So you cannot have a separated network here. So as soon as somebody starts cheating, everybody else, all other participants know that who is cheating. And they know, because they have public information, who exactly cheating. It's very strong motivation not to cheat. And also, you don't have, as soon as you don't have mining, you don't have a problem of double spending the past, changing the history, this race of blocks. Because consensus is one consensus, and it cannot be changed afterwards. Just a single history line. And new blocks appear every like 5 seconds. 5 seconds. So it's really fast. You don't need to wait even 10 minutes or 1 hour. 5 seconds, 7 seconds, 2 seconds, just different. As I said, you can issue your own currencies. Yes, please.
Another concern of the size of the blockchain. Sorry, wait for the microphone.
Yeah. The size of the blockchain. Okay, let's repeat so.
If you have a block every 5 seconds,
right?
What would the size of blockchain be, let's say?
It's a good question, and as soon as you notice that you have in the blockchain not only transactions but also accounts, offers, trust lines, the block is bigger, but the difference is that you don't need to store all the blocks. You need to store only the latest block, because you can get all the information about how much money I have right in your account. It's just a number, just stated number. We need to go through the chain of transactions to calculate non-spent transactions and calculate your balance. And here, balance is stated. Every time new transaction comes, balance is changed.
Okay, but,
so one block could be big, 5 gigabytes for example, but you don't need to store them. But yeah, you may store all of them.
Okay, so the blockchain is not forgotten. You have somebody can store it.
Yes. But for normal usage, the latest one is okay. For organizations that want to keep the whole, and everybody is free to do that, who wants to keep the whole history, they will store everything.
But do you think that storing just one block is enough? Basically, you cannot authenticate that block.
You can.
You have to keep, I don't know, 20 or 30 to make sure chain is there.
There is no chain of transaction here. There is a difference from Bitcoin. You don't need to store the chain. It's like you have a name, like Pavel, and a balance 10, and then some transaction, and it states that I paid to Anton, for example. And then my balance is reduced to 5, and now I have, like in the next block, I have a statement with Pavel 5. That's it.
Okay, but a new peer that joins into the how will they know that the block that they have received from somebody is correct or not?
Because every transacting node, every processing node signs the consensus. And consensus means the set of transactions that changed the previous block. So yeah, current node can easily done the whole chain, but it's usually not needed, or have the proven record that all nodes have agreed to this current block. So yeah, you can check it through, because you have signatures of everybody.
I was just thinking it's more secure to have maybe 20 or 30, and then you
Yeah.
can
you can validate if there's a change in them. Nobody can have so much power to produce 20 blocks, but one, somebody can.
Yes, there is no, you don't need to have a power here. So,
Okay.
yes, you can, yeah, everybody is free to have, to store as much blocks as they want. So, it's not a limitation. It's just, for normal work, you need only one block. That's it. So, currencies. You can issue your own currency. If you're a bank, you will issue electronic money. For example, you take deposits from people in dollars and you issue electronic dollars to them. It's like anonymous checks. It would be like anonymous checks. It's like PayPal as well. PayPal, in exchange of money on your credit card, issues you balance. And you use this balance. So it's technically a PayPal dollars. So it just implements this approach into cryptocurrency way. Also, you can issue your currency like for your internal currency, for your own company, for your own society, for whatever you want, for the game. It's just a platform to clear balance transactions. So every game creator can easily, without spending money on creating an IT infrastructure, can issue as many gold as he wants to and then let users spend. So you can do whatever you want. And there is no fees for each currency or nothing like this. The concept of payment press, that, yes?
If you go to the microphone.
Yeah. So yes. If I look at this sheet, what are you saying? You can have your own currency built on Stellar? Is that
Yes.
what you're saying?
Yeah. But if you force or convince your friends to use your currency, they will have to trust you. For example, you issue your currency in exchange of money deposits. They have to trust you to return money back. So, but it's just a protocol for doing all of this. The concept of payment pass. This concept helps, this technology helps when you need to send money in dollars from US, for example, to pay merchants in euros. Technically works like this. You have a bank where, here's a gateway, where Elise has a deposit of $100 and she wants to pay Bernard merchant 75 euros.
That's not enough.
Okay. And then Alice creates a transaction and broadcasts it in the network. It will always be some Mark, who is a trader, who has accounts in both banks. For example, Bank of America and Deutsche Bank. And Mark is earning money doing the currency exchange. For him, it doesn't matter where to have balance, for example. He's a trader. So Mark exchanges the euros immediately by also a transaction, and Bernard receives money. And what does it mean receives? It just, first Mark should post the transaction to exchange, and then Alice posts the transaction, and then system, the Stellar, matches these two transactions, always taking the best exchange rate, for example, and it changes the balances of Alice, Mark, and Bernard. So just changing of balances. So now Alice has $0 in her bank, like $0 to claim from her bank. Mark has $100, but minus 75 euros, for example, and Bernard has 75 euros. Everybody can do this market making. So every person, and there is technically no difference between normal user, gateway, market maker, or whatever. They all have the same accounts, the technology. You don't need to build special software for this or for this. Everybody can do this. About fees. So there is a fee. As you can see, very small. Fee is needed to prevent DOS attacks, because otherwise somebody can do millions of transactions and the blockchain. So the current ledger will be huge and not used. So for every transaction should be a fee, and if there is a DOS attack, this fee is raised by processing nodes significantly on their own decision. And also, you need to maintain at least 50 stars on each account. So you cannot just create big accounts to blow up the blockchain without paying money. Currently, the price for Stellar is $2 per 1,000 Stellars. So as you can see, you can, even if the price will be $1 per Stellar, then you will spend $1 per, how much? 100, yeah, a huge amount of transactions. But if you issue your own custom currency, then you can set your own fee for transaction with this currency. So like a bank can say that if Alice wants to send money to Bob, then she has to pay $1 in dollars automatically. So for each transfer, we'll bring bank small fee, which is customly set. For dollars, it could be 0.1%, for it could be 10%, for whatever it could be different amount. So you set up your own fee. But interesting thing here is that currently to send money from Alice to Bob, you need to use like internet banking. You need to connect to bank, send out order, and banks will like move money, balances. But here, Alice sends transaction directly to Bob. It's just a transaction in the network, but Stellar automatically takes the fee to the bank. So bank may not even create IT infrastructure to process transaction of funds. It just automatically processed. Yeah. So business models. How can you earn using this system? The system is free to use, non-profit, whatever. You can build normal exchanges. Right now we are connecting big exchanges to the system. ANX announced that it will support us. And right now it's 7 or 10 exchanges support Stellars, usually BTC. You can do money making, so trade currencies. You can build a gateway. Well, gateway means bank. So you can, if you in your country you don't need license to create electronic money, you can do it. Like in Malaysia, do it, for example. Or if you already have a license to create money, then technically you don't deal with cryptocurrency at all. So you don't need to comply with Bitcoin laws. You just do your business, but inside using the modern system. And you can take the deposit withdrawal fees and transaction fees. And it's not only about Stellar. Other project includes lending, score rating, insurance, calculations, whatever. So it's huge opportunities for businesses. So imagine if we have uniform protocol for all financial transactions, how businesses will grow, and it's free for use. As a conclusion, yes, I already said it's a free, blah blah blah. Still, like a currency plays secondary role. You don't need to think about it too much. You may hold it. It's up to you. Technically, we try to push financial system, banks, to broadcast their transaction in the blockchain, to the internet. That's the main goal. How can we change the banking system? Make it transparent and also decentralized way. And Stellar is like a for financial world. You may think about it like HTTP protocol, kind of HTTP protocol for financial world. Just a protocol that everybody can free use. That's it. Thank you. Please, questions? Yes.
I think I'm back to your opening question that you asked, because you were kind of juxtapositioning Bitcoin and Stellar. Bitcoin creates its own rule system, / legal system, and Stellar wants to integrate the existing system, not at least create a a rule system that clashes with it. Doesn't that also mean that is not needed in the sense of the banking system already is creating fast transactions, especially here in the Netherlands. We have the ideal system which works very well and pushing also Bitcoin usage out. In the United States we see a motion that finally peer-to-peer, so people-to-people, person-to-person transactions are being supported by that general motion. Will that slowly supplant Stellar? Because Stellar is worse. It is worse for the banks because it puts obligation on them to make things public that they have a financial incentive to not make public. So it doesn't Stellar, because of this proposal where you have this debt programmed into it?
Yeah, to some extent, sure, we compete, and we compete with Swift, with Visa and MasterCard, to some extent. And with Bitcoin, if you think about Bitcoin as a transport level for money. But I would say that some institutions, a lot of them will join the system, because for them, right now, maybe it means some cost to change infrastructure, but in the future, if we do infrastructure for everybody, they will gain much more. So every country makes different system to transact, but at the end we need to, like, the ideal world is when it is uniform, equal to everybody.
Isn't the problem that Stellar is trying to force something on with the transparency? Couldn't it be envisioned an alternative system which works technically almost the same, except that transactions some cryptographic magic, so it's opaque what transactions are?
Yeah, I also think that it's not too easy to change the whole world, but the first target, sure, it will be remittance, and first banks will be Bitcoin exchanges, because every centralized Bitcoin exchange is technically a bank. People deposit money there, withdraw money, or not withdraw. It depends on the name of the exchange. So you could you can send your money on TCE to Kraken, different countries from Germany to Japan, with very small fees on exchanging the currency. And as soon as a lot of banks are already interested in this technology, in the cryptocurrency, and I personally know banks who are implementing this, I think that it will be like a market. One implement this, and next will be okay. I should join probably. And yes, it's a lot of competitors. Sure.
Okay, so you think the Me Too effect is enough to overcome your forces on other banks?
And we also require this effect. We require transparency from our, as Bitcoin enthusiasts, we believe that it's the future.
Thank you.
It's transparency to some extent, because you still you can anonymity. But yes, you will see how funds are moving, right? Or who moves them.
So my question, I guess I don't understand and I never understood also with Ripple, the technical aspect, because I understand that Bitcoin solved an open problem in computer science, which was how to maintain a ledger without a central authority,
Right.
without the need for trust. Are you claiming that this system provides another solution for that?
Yes. This solution is not new. I mean, technically it's just a voting process. Bitcoin does this well, but you vote with your computational power. So the one who has bigger resources has more important vote, technically. Here, you just do normal vote, but you have to establish the trust network. It's not too easy to establish. And obviously, Stellar could not be the first cryptocurrency. First, I mean, it could not be gain in 2009 the attention. Because Bitcoin provides a principle, not to trust to anybody.
So Bitcoin doesn't provide the principle, Bitcoin provides a technical solution. How to do that? Can you
Yes.
what is the solution that you're describing? I mean, it seems to me, I mean, maybe I don't understand the point, but it seems to me that your solution is similar to what was before Bitcoin. How is it different than,
Havala.
than a list of emails that claiming that I sent you $50? How is that different?
Because you have nodes to confirm this transaction.
How can they confirm if there is no, you don't have all the transactions since the beginning? How can you confirm?
And you don't need to have these transactions. You need to have the current balances.
So how can you confirm that the transaction is correct?
You look to the blockchain. You see that balance person.
Blockchain. Do you have a blockchain? Because you said that there is no chain.
There is no chain of transactions, but there is a chain of blocks, because each block has a hash from the block.
Okay.
Each block is signed.
Okay. And what is inside each block?
Inside block, I name it block because it's easier to understand. Inside each block, transactions. You have accounts, current state of accounts. You have offers, trust lines, and obviously you have a hash of previous block. So they are linked.
Okay. Why are they linked?
Yeah, because of your question, they are linked to be integrity. Yeah.
Integrity.
I understand what integrity means. You need to understand if you don't need the previous blocks because each node is not verifying actions, what is the purpose of this structure of the chain? I understand it in Bitcoin. I mean, what I'm basically saying is that Bitcoin is a technological advancement.
Right.
And you're suggesting here a technological advancement that achieves the same thing as Bitcoin but in a different way. And what I'm saying is that me personally in that way. What I'm seeing is that something that is equivalent to essentially an email list between friends, and you're saying that I can send an email that I sent you $50, and if 2 weeks from now it turns out I actually didn't send it, then we're no longer going to be friends. Something that you're going to remove from the
No.
email list.
You don't. Okay, first question: why it should be linked? Because it prevents you to create from nodes from creating a block where they change balances dramatically, and nobody will know how it happened. And here you can see. Sorry?
How does it prevent it?
Because you can go to the previous block, having it hash, and see that balances was like this, and transactions was like this, or like this. So it could not, out of total money, like $1,000 in the whole system, it turns to be $1 million of whole system.
So you do need to keep a blockchain.
You can do this. I mean, for just for processing transactions, you don't need to do this. It's up to you. You can keep, you may not keep, but sure somebody will keep to save all the history. That's correct.
Okay, maybe you should.
Yeah, that's.
Sorry. There was someone first. He was waiting.
And the second question was why it's different from email list.
Well, can I, as a financial guy, work for a financial institution? I work for a company called Monexy, the biggest payment platform in Ukraine, and also growing internationally quite rapidly. So we mostly local business, so we pay. Our payment system allows companies and individuals to pay within certain individual because we are operating under e-money licenses regulated by individual countries. Or in case of you, we have passporting in different countries. So the problem for us and for other banks is when we use a legacy system like SWIFT and other system is actually that we have to do certain actions which take a lot of time, as well as we will have to transfer the money and then wait for other transfers, and we get charged a lot of money by structure. What I believe is the most advantage for us as a bankers, I would say, is that the system like Ripple or Stellar, they allow us to achieve a consensus on an international scale, not only with other partners, but potentially using different nodes with other people and institutions, because system allows you to deal only directly with your partners, but with other trusted parties you can contact anyone within the system, which means that your transaction cost will be lowered and consensus can be reached quite regularly, or by the end of the day. You can still do by the end of the day if you want to. And that actually brings us a lot of potential. And of course, there are many potential threats to the system, but there was a person mentioning that the current system is good enough. It's not good enough in terms of the transfers. I'm not sure if the Stellar is in direct competition to Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is also a currency which is quite speculative and it has some other aspects to it. But in terms of the competition of the Bitcoin and Stellar, I'm not sure that if you talk about crowdfunding or other uses of Bitcoin 2.0 technologies, then maybe Stellar is in competition, but it has its own as well. As Pavel said, Bitcoin technology is very energy consuming, for example, and there are many other disadvantages of technology, as well as disadvantages of Stellar. So probably only time will tell, and at the moment it's very important to experiment with currencies as well as with different payment platforms, which Stellar is definitely becoming one of them. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Pavel. Thank you.
So I want to comment.
I still have the feeling that Asaf's question isn't really answered. Yeah, because I missed a bit, but am I right that Stellar tries to find a trusted path between two people trading with each other?
It also can work like this, but yeah, technically no.
Okay.
It's not obligatory. And regarding your question, it's an important question, and if somebody wants to know more, we can just talk just about just the presentation. But it works. It works like Bitcoin, but without mining. But instead of mining, you have public trust putting on. With mining, with Bitcoin, you put your processors as how to say. Proof of your existence, and in Stellar you put your public information as a proof of your existence. That's it. But why you don't have transactions? Because you have in each block you take a balance of account. So each transaction changes the balance. So you don't need to maintain the whole chain because the balance was affected by all previous transactions. And you may store, and a lot of people will store the whole blockchain to maintain the history, but it's just not needed to store all of them. You need to store one on the last block, and which is signed by every processing node to confirm that they all have seen transactions and they agree that they are valid. With miners, you only one miner generates the block, and then everybody else just this agreement is implicit. And here you have explicit agreement. You have signatures of everybody who was involved in the consensus. And consensus is just a set of transactions.
I was about to ask this question. My understanding from Ripple was that there was a trusted set of validators.
Right.
Is that now the same in Stellar, or is this signing by everybody with Ripple?
Everybody from processing nodes.
Okay, so there is a matter of a trusted list being constructed by the Stellar company?
No. Stellar just run its own node, and then everybody can do the same. And then the trust network will be formed out of people who know each other.
Okay, so there's a university trust in Stellar by a couple of nodes, and from there it spreads out.
Yes.
And you don't need to trust Stellar personally.
Yes, Stellar will not be able to affect the consensus because there is no rule, like a tool for that. And also, trusted nodes. It's also important to say that you will be able to select which nodes it trusts. But trust here is not a trust to a particular node, to one person who owns the node. But user will select nodes that collude with each other and do a bad consensus. So you may select NSA, which you don't trust, and Russian government, which you either. But you believe that they will not sit together to create a bad consensus. So you have to diversify your risks. And since there will be a chain of trust between these nodes, as you have at least one bridge between different like sets of nodes, the consensus will be the same for all nodes. But there will be a scientific paper about how consensus works and why it can be proven in a mathematical way why it's correct. But it's a lot of information about consensus, since it's a lot of questions. What if somebody wants to create millions of nodes and make them trusted, whatever? So it's a big.
Thank you.
You said that everybody can generate their own currency. So how do you maintain the value of the currency? If I can generate my own currency, maybe tomorrow I will generate double.
It's up to you. It's your task to maintain value or whatever. Technically works like Mastercoin and Counterparty. Actually, Mastercoin and Counterparty, they took approach of Ripple, so yeah, just the same. You are the only responsible for your own currency that you issue.
So how is the person that is exchanging my currency able to keep up?
It's up to him to trust you, to accept payments in your currency. So everybody can decide whom to trust, which currency to use. If you have friends, you can create your own currency between friends, like some points for beer. And if you have one more friend, then new friend to decide will he be trust you or not.
Is there any way I could guarantee to everybody that from now on I'm not going to issue my currency?
No.
This is set.
No, it's
Why not?
impossible. Yeah, just it's out of the it's not a technical question. If you are the only person that everybody knows on the earth, then maybe.
So how will you transact bitcoins in your currency?
Sorry?
How can I transact bitcoins in your currency?
You will transact bitcoins in a way so you move bitcoins from exchange to exchange, technically. So, for example, you have an account on Kraken. You have 10 bitcoins there, and you issue a transaction, send these bitcoins to your friend, and now your friend will be able to send bitcoins from Kraken. So it's a moving of claim. You don't move bitcoins here.
I understand, but this must say on your network that I have 300 bitcoins, right?
Right.
And later they can say that they have 500 bitcoins.
Yes, they can say this.
They can cheat.
Yes, and it's the same issue as in the existing world. So nothing has changed here. The trust issue to issuers of currency is the same. Decide which exchange to trust. You decide which bank to trust when you put your money there. It's your own decision. Do whatever they want, but at the end of the day, people will decide whom to trust.
So wouldn't it be a good idea to allow an issuer to say from the beginning that they will not issue more coins, so people will trust more that?
Yeah, if you use dollars or euros, you cannot say that because you limit your business. The issuing of coins, you issue coins in exchange for something, for example. If you mean normal currency. If you are a bank, issue electronic dollars of Bank of America in exchange of deposits. And it's up to you, it's up to the bank to keep your reserves to pay for everybody afterwards. Bank can use this money to lend. If you issue your own currency inside some organization, you may say, but it's not up to the protocol, you may say that there will be no more than 1 million coins. Let's transact them. So you can build your cryptocurrency on top of Stellar, but somebody, issuer, has to provide an obligation not to issue more. But the rules can be defined whatever you want. You decide you define your own rules of your own currency. This is just a protocol to do
You
it.
can change the rules later.
That's not a question to the protocol. Protocol just allows to clear the balances. The trust issue is not inside, it's outside. This is a technical solution for doing all this. Yeah, we may discuss this afterwards if yeah.
Just a quick question regarding data protection. The Western world, finance particularly, there's been a very strong current for the legal bodies to sign data protection, which are very different from country to country. By joining this protocol, the system as a company or legal entity, if you want, or individual, you'll have to write away your right to be anonymous by declaring yourself. And that's in clear contradiction with the Data Protection Act. Have you had a situation like this?
Not yet. I understood your question. So yeah, you technically can move money whatever you want, and it sometimes conflict with rules of particular government. But this is again, it's up to the person, up to the entity, the bank. It's just a protocol. So, but the first adopters will be the banks, Bitcoin exchanges, which usually care about all of this. They will just allow to test system in full scale, and then it's up to the banks to decide join or not, and how to ensure the customer requirement and anti-money laundering procedures, because yeah, they may prevent transactions with their, for example, to anonymous accounts, for example.
Are you able to provide any public information in terms of the levels of transactions or the number of users of your current system?
Right now, it's 1 million registrations. In one, yeah, we launched 1 million registrations from the users who want to claim their free coins. And as I said, we have around 10 exchanges, and we'll have hundreds of exchanges. We work with community to create different applications. So I've seen at least one project for iOS application, for Android application, for SMS gate, for solution for gateways to manage their customers. So community creates projects. Yeah, and that's it. So we are trying to grow very fast, and it's easy when you give coins away for free. Yes.
What kind of bridges do you envision between Ripple and Stellar?
Technology is technically equal, so if you build up some business based on Stellar or Ripple technology, you will support both automatically. Yes, this is the same guy of Ripple and Stellar. He is not in a good relationship with Ripple now, but he's still a shareholder. He recently, like 3 months ago, he announced to sell his share of Ripple, which is pretty big, the biggest. It's not a relationship. This just nobody wants to kill each other, so it's okay. It's a free war.
Are there any more questions? Okay. Then I ask you to give Pavel a big applause. Thank you for being present at the second day of the Bitcoin from summer 2014. We have to be out of this room at 5 o'clock, that's in 8 minutes or something. But please collect or group together in the lobby, and then we will move to Café Polder. It's across the street, it's 200 meters walk. And there we will have a drink and a dinner to avoid misunderstanding on your own expense. So
join us and have a chat with us at Café Restaurant de Polder. And I thank you for being here to the second BitConference summer. Okay.